Hi, I am your host, Rabina Rastaban, and this is the Mystic Media channel. Today, I would like to get into the dark side of Aries male, and I just want to reiterate before I get started that these videos are dealing with the dark sided Aries or any other zodiac sign and their traits. So I'm not talking about the average Aries or the average Leo. I'm talking about those people that are personality disordered or they just project more of their negative traits. So I call them dark sided. So I don't want anybody to think that I'm just saying that all Aries or all Leo or all Cancers are like this. So these are the signs in the worst way. So let's get started. So the dark side of Aries male, he could be selfish as all get out. It's all about him. If it doesn't have to do with him, he really doesn't want to stick around and pay attention. He's so selfish that he'll even sell his own mother out if that means that he'll avoid trouble or avoid persecution. He can be crude, rude, caveman like, very brutish. So expect him to be farting and spitting and just belching and not having really any decorum and out in public as well. He could be very violent, angry for no reason, always have a chip on his shoulder and be very combative. And that's because Aries is ruled by Mars, and Mars deals with aggression, it deals with war and conflict. So that comes naturally to them. The dark side of Aries male can also be hypersexual. Sex is always on the brain. They need sex to feel vital and to feel alive. And when you first get with the dark side of Aries male, he might brag and boast about his sexual prowess. But then when you actually get in bed with him, he might be a big disappointment. Yeah, so they're often lousy in bed. They're often, 2 minute brothers, come very quickly and just, all about themselves and all about pleasing themselves. They may, please the woman if it's going to give them a boost to their ego and self esteem. They could be womanizers and woman haters. The dark side of Aries male is the epitome of a male chauvinist. Um, like I said, a womanizer. They can have sex with a lot of women or be with a lot of women, but hate women at the same time and blame them for their problems. They can also be meatheads, dumb jocks, and basically just dull all around. Where they're just basically two dimensional. There's nothing really spectacular about them. They're just kind of run of the mill, average Joe the plumber type of dude where you really gotta pull at them to really get them to open up and to be more intimate. Another dark side of Aries trait is they could be too impulsive, reckless, and dangerous. So they could be very fast drivers and very reckless drivers. So you want to be careful when you're in a car with a dark side of Aries male. Um, they're prone to pick fights. So they're always spoiling for a fight. They're always, being on the defensive. They always feel like somebody's trying to attack them and attack their position. They can be very jealous and use women as trophies. So basically, it's not even like they have that interpersonal connection. Again, it's all about them and it deals with that selfish nature. So they have an inability to put themselves in the other person's shoes. So they really don't have a partner. It's more like a trophy or a rag doll or something that they can just behold when they want to deal with you. They could be quick to bail when things get rough and when, they're asked to step up to the plate. Aries likes things quick and easy, so they don't like when there's any type of obstacles in their way. So expect them not to be around when you really need them. Also, dealing with that dull, brutish Neanderthal nature, they can be non-communicative, especially when you really need to, sort things out with them. They might just respond in grunts and groans, farts and spits. So yeah, it might be a hard time getting them to, communicate with you in terms of on an intellectual level. They often lack staying power and tenacity. They'll start things, but they won't finish them. So, a dark-sided Aries male, he might start some do-it-yourself home projects, but then they'll be half finished, and your house will be looking like some type of home improvement show. They could be very boastful. Again, it goes to the ego being overblown. They could be full of hot air. Another thing about the dark side of Aries, he can be very self-hating, self-destructive. So when he's depressed or when he's in a negative situation, he might even make it worse by just, doing things to punish himself or to, beat himself up. Again, dealing with the lacking staying power, oftentimes they fail to deliver. So they may promise you the world, but then, stop short of delivering. Also, the dark side of Aries male, they can be big time fools, and like I said, they can be big time kids. Um, you can't take them anywhere. They may embarrass you, like the Gemini, the dark side of Gemini male. They again dealing with the selfishness. They don't like to share. They don't like to, make sure that everybody has their fair share. They'll spend your money, but when it comes to their money, they'll be more guarded with it. They can be just too in your face, too aggressive, too loud, too boisterous, and sometimes that wears on you, and sometimes it's just too much. The dark side of Aries male, he can also become an open enemy when you're on his bad side. So when he's not feeling you, you'll definitely know it because he'll be very rude. He'll cut you off. He will not acknowledge your feelings. He'll be very insensitive, and he may just do things outwardly to try to hurt you. So again, they could be very violent, just have this strong, angry persona, always just looking for some type of conflict. And the dark side of Aries male, he's rarely at peace with himself or with others. So you'll be taken on a wild ride if you get with a dark side of Aries male. But the good thing about the dark side of Aries male is that he really doesn't sugarcoat things. He's very straight and to the point. What you see is what you get. So it's going to be pretty easy to identify them when you first meet them. So it's really up to you to really stop them in their tracks before they get too far. Because Aries, if you give them an inch, they will take a mile. And you got to stop them before they get too far. Because the thing with Aries, a lot of times their bark is worse than their bite. So if you stand up to them, a lot of times they'll back down or they'll shy away. So a dark-sided Aries male, he often preys upon women, but these women usually he perceives as weak. So if you start to display strength, a lot of times they'll back down because just like any wild animal, they prey upon the weak. So, and yeah, dealing with animal, basically the dark side of Aries male can just be very animalistic. Their animal drives are very strong, and a lot of times they have a hard time controlling those animal drives. The dark side of Aries male to the extreme in terms of serial killers would be the cannibal. So yeah, that whole animalistic drive, preying on people, just being wild and untamed and feral, that is the dark side of Aries male. So that's basically my take on the dark side of Aries male. If you feel that I left anything out, please feel free to comment. And I'm leaving my website below in case you would like a reading. And stay tuned because my next video will be on the dark side of Pisces male. As you can see, I'm working backwards. I started off with Virgo, namely because I have a strong affinity with Virgo energy. But yeah, so next video will be about Pisces. Stay tuned. Peace and blessings.